Hi, in this video, we are going to see how to find the average rate of change and slope for parametric equations. Consider the parametric equations are defined by x of t and y of t, where t is a parameter. Okay, over the interval a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b, the formula to find the average rate of change for x of t is delta x over delta t is equal to x of b negative x of a over b negative a. And also the formula to find the average rate of change for y of t over this interval, delta y over delta t is equal to y of b negative y of a over b negative a. Okay, the first formula to find the value of x of b, you have to plug in t is equal to b into the first parametric equation defined by x of t. And also to get this x of a, we have to plug in t is equal to a into this one. The same thing we have to do to find the average rate of change for y of t. And the slope of the graph of the given parametric equations can be found by using the formula, that is slope is equal to the average rate of change for y of t, which is delta y over delta of t. It has to be divided by the average rate of change for x of t, that is delta x over delta t. Okay, now let's look at an example. So we have parametric equations, x is equal to t, y is equal to square root of t square negative 1, and we have interval for t, that is negative 1, less than or equal to t, less than or equal to 1. Okay, so we have to get answer for three questions here. One is average rate of change for x of t. The second one is average rate of change for y of t. Finally, the slope of the graph. So the average rate of change for x of t is delta x over delta t, that is equal to x of b according to the formula. So to get the value of a and b, you just have to compare the given given interval with a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b. So when I compare the given interval for t with this one, I get b is equal to 1 and a is equal to negative 1. So x of b means x of 1, negative x of a means x of negative 1 over b negative a. That means 1 negative of value of a is negative 1. So to get the value of x of 1, you have to plug in t is equal to 1 into the first parametric equation. When you plug in t is equal to 1, you just get 1, the same value, negative. And to get the value of this one, x of negative 1, you have to plug in t is equal to negative 1 into the first parametric equation. When you plug in t is equal to negative 1, you get the same negative 1 over 1. Negative times negative will become positive 1. 1. Negative times negative will become positive 1 over 2. So which is equal to 2 over 2. Finally, it results 1. So the average rate of change for x of t is 1. Okay, now let's find the average rate of change for y of t, that is delta y over delta t is equal to y of b. Already we know that b is equal to 1. So y of 1 negative, y of a means y of negative 1 over b negative a, which is 1 negative of negative 1. So to get the value of y of 1, you have to plug in t is equal to 1 into the second parametric equation, that is square root of 1 square negative 1 negative. To get the value of this one, you have to plug in t is equal to negative 1 into the second parametric equation, that is square root of negative 1 the whole square negative 1 over 1. Negative times negative will become positive 1. So we get square root of 1 square, it's just 1, 1 negative 1, negative square root of the value of this one is just 1, 1 negative 1 over 2. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So we know that the value of 1 minus 1 is 0. Square root of 0 is 0. And again, this one also is 0. Finally, we get 0 in numerator, 0 over 2, which is equal to 0. So the average rate of change for y of t is just 0. Okay, now we have to do the third part of the question, that is we have to find the slope of the graph for the given parametric equations. Already we know that the slope is equal to average rate of change for y of t, that is delta y over delta t. It has to be divided by the average rate of change for x of t, that is delta x over delta of t, delta t. So we know that the delta y over delta t, that is the average rate of change for x of t, is 0 divided by, so delta x over delta t is the average rate of change for x of t, that is 1. So 0 over 1 is 0. So slope of the graph of the given parametric equations is 0. Okay, now let's look at another example. We have parametric equations x is equal to 3t, y is equal to 3t square negative 1, and we have interval for the values of t, that is 0 less than or equal to t less than or equal to 2. So the same thing, so average rate of change for x of t, average rate of change for y of t, the slope. Okay, let's find the average rate of change for x of t, that is delta x over delta t, which is equal to x of b. So to get the values of a and b, we have to compare the interval with a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b. So x of b means x of 2 negative, x of a means x of 0 over b minus a, which is 2 minus 0. Okay, so to get the value of x of t, what we need to do is you have to plug in t is equal to 2 into the first parametric equation, that is 3 times 2 negative. To get the value of this one, we have to plug in t is equal to 0 into this one. We get 3 times 0 over 2 minus 0 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6 minus 3 times 0 is 0 over 2. So 6 over 2. Finally, it's 3. So the average rate of change for x of t is 3. Okay, now let's find the average rate of change for our y of t, that is delta y over delta t is equal to y of b, that is y of 2, negative y of a, that is y of 0 over b minus a, it is 2 minus 0. Okay, now to get the value of y of 2, you have to plug in t is equal to 2 into the second parametric equation, that is 3 times 2 square negative 1. To get the value of this y of 0, you have to plug in t is equal to 0 into the second parametric equation, that is 3 times 0 square negative 1 over 2. 3 times the value of 2 square is 4, negative 1, negative. So 0 square is 0. So 3 times 0, negative 1 over 2. So we get 3 times 4 is 12. 12 negative 1 is just 11. And here 3 times 0 is 0. 0 negative 1 is negative 1 over 2. So 11 negative times negative will become positive 1 over 2. So 12 over 2, that is equal to 6. So we got the average rate of change for y of t, that is 6. Okay, now we have to find the slope of the curve for the given parametric equations. So slope is equal to average rate of change of y divided by average rate of change of x. So already we know the average rate of change of y, that is 6, and the average rate of change of x is 3, that is 2. So the slope of the graph of the given parametric equations is 2. Okay, let's do one more example. We have parametric equations. X is equal to 2 times t minus sine t, and y is equal to 2 times 1 minus cosine t. And the interval we have for the values of t is 0 less than or equal to t less than or equal to 2 pi. Okay, now let's find the average rate of change for x of t, that is delta x over delta t is equal to x of 2 pi negative x of 0 over 2 pi negative 0. So x of 2 pi means I have to plug in 2 pi for t to the first parametric equation, that is 2 times 2 pi negative sine 2 pi negative. And to get the value of this one, you have to plug in t is equal to 0 into the first parametric equation. So we get 2 times 0 negative sine 0 over 2 pi negative 0 is just 2 pi. Okay, 2 times 2 pi. The value of sine 2 pi is 0. Into 2 times 0 negative. The value of sine 0 is 0 over 2 pi. Okay, so 2 times the simplification of this one is just 2 pi. 2 pi minus 0 is just 2 pi. And this is 0. 0 times anything will be 0. So this part will completely become 0. So 2 times 2 pi over 2 pi. So 2 pi will cancel out. We get 2. So the average rate of change for x of t is 2. Okay, now let's find the average rate of change for y of t, that is delta y over delta t, which is equal to y of 2 pi negative y of 0 over 2 pi negative 0. Okay, to get the value of this one, you have to plug in t is equal to 2 pi into the second parametric equation. Then we get 2 times 1 negative cosine 2 pi negative. To get the value of this one, you have to plug in t is equal to 0 into the second parametric equation. Then we get 2 times 1 negative cosine 0. over 2 pi minus 0 is just 2 pi. 2 times 1 negative. The value of cosine 2 pi is just 1. Negative 2 times 1 negative. The value of cosine 0 is 1 over 2 pi. So 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. And the same thing, 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0 over 2 pi. So finally we have 0 over 2 pi. So 0. So the average rate of change for y of t is 0. Okay, now we have to do the third part, that is we have to find the slope of the graph of the given parametric equations. That is, you know the formula for slope, that is slope is equal to average rate of change for y of t divided by average rate of change for x of t. So we know that the average rate of change for y of t is 0 and the average rate of change for x of t is just 2. So 0 over 2 is 0. So the slope of the graph is 0.